Hello there, my name is DebResbox and welcome to EVE Pandora. Pandora is a player-driven mission and campaign engine for EVE Online. It transforms what capsuleers do, combat, industry, logistics and strategy, into structured objectives, evolving stories and living operations. Instead of static content, Pandora allows you to create, run and participate in dynamic campaigns and missions where outcomes are shaped by real player action. This is your command hub, the place where everything begins. At the very top you will see the main navigation. From here you can see the available and active epics, campaigns, campaigns for you, campaigns against you, missions that are available, missions for you, missions you are involved in, and missions against you, as well as projects, which is a combination of missions towards a set goal. Down the left hand side is your control panel. Here you can access your profile, that of your corporation, your alliance, your faction, and a calendar of events that you can take part in, as well as your Pandora settings. You can also create epics, campaigns, missions, projects, check out the faction warfare maps and statistics, fleet commander stats, and after action reports. To the right hand side we can see the latest Pandora activity logs for campaigns and activities created, action reports and overviews, the latest imported EVE Online news, Pandora monthly digests and other content related to Pandora. Further down the page we can see shortcut links for epics, campaigns, missions, upcoming story arcs, projects and upcoming events. The faction warfare section is also displayed, showing you a list of all related statistics for the top combat and plexing in faction warfare, tracked by Pandora. And on the right hand side here we can see the top systems at risk in faction warfare. So first we're going to look at one of the main sections within Pandora, and that is campaigns. This is the campaign overview page, accessed via the main navigation at the top. Campaigns can be filtered by all campaigns, campaigns for you, campaigns against you and campaigns that you're involved in. Campaigns come in four main flavours: combat, faction warfare plexing, faction warfare objectives for advantage, and pirate insurgencies for corruption and suppression. If we select one of these campaigns, we can see that this campaign has a brief outlining the objectives, action reports detailing the outcome of the campaign over certain time periods depending on the duration of the campaign, and these are generated by PANDAX, the Pandora Artificial Extension. These are generated over time during the campaign, detailing the current progress of the campaign, those taking part in the campaign, and those going against the campaign. Each campaign contains rewards on offer, and anyone can add to these rewards. Campaigns also show objectives, participation restrictions, and important notes that you need to know about the campaign to take part. Each campaign has a leaderboard, activity log, those engaged, those countering the campaign, and system statistics. The leaderboard shows the ranking of those involved in the campaign. Activity shows those taking part and when it took place, and those highlighted in red are those countering the campaign. Engaged shows those taking part in the campaign and their ranking, as well as the top players in this campaign, and countering shows the statistics for those going against the campaign. The System tab shows the statistics for the systems as targets of this campaign, the top 10 of those involved, the top 10 of those countering, and the contested state over time for this system, if it is a faction warfare campaign, as well as the corruption and suppression state of this system, and the advantage state. Each campaign runs a similar format, and each will carry its own objectives, rewards, and data. Now, the campaign brief itself was not generated in this way. You can see that this was created by this character here and their affiliations. This is all auto-generated by Pandora. Campaigns are created here in the left-hand navigation menu. If we look here, we can see that freelance jobs can be imported as campaigns. Any freelance job with 50 or more kills set as a combat campaign, and any with 50 or more faction warfare plexes set becomes a faction warfare plexing campaign. If it is less than that amount, then it will become a mission. And you can select to have your freelance jobs imported by Pandora via the settings. Now, you can also choose to create your campaign directly within the Create Campaign section in the descriptive, and it details how to create the campaign in the campaign creation guide. Various terms and conditions can be set here, and we just looked a minute ago at the Augur Faction Warfare plexing campaign, which had an enormous description. However, it was simply created with these very few words entered by the creator. So these words were created in the description. Create campaign was clicked. If we go to the shortcut for that campaign here, we can see that those few words created this enormous campaign brief, because Pandora knows everything going on around it, all of the other campaigns that took place, the impact of this campaign and the campaigns around it, the epics going on, the missions going on, and anything that may have an impact on this campaign. And the other campaigns will also carry a similar campaign brief. Pandora knows what is going on around it, knows all the key players, and knows how to build those action reports based upon what is happening around the Eden universe. Now let's have a look at missions. Missions are imported directly from the EVE Online freelance jobs, and as mentioned in campaigns, they can be set up within the settings in Pandora. You can import supply jobs, combat jobs, courier missions, and more. So let's have a look here at one of these, for example, Republic Border Control. Imported as a freelance job to kill non-capsuleers in Minmatar regions, you can see that it is listing all of those taking part, the contributions, and the overall progress of the objectives of this freelance job. Now, you can also add your own rewards to this freelance job, and anyone can add their own rewards. This becomes a bonus on top of any reward setting that was created in the freelance job within EVE itself. It becomes an extension, and anyone can add more rewards to this. So you can see that this one here has 100,000, 100 million for first place, 50 million for second place, and a 10% bonus if any of these were members of Ashkam. It gives you the objectives, the participation restriction, and any important notes that you need to know. If I go back again to missions, we can have a look at a supply mission. Superconductor productions for superconductors. And this mission overview gives a big briefing and also knows the other missions that are going on at the same time. Now you can see that this would be impossible to pull in from freelance jobs because you can't actually add that much to a freelance job description within EVE Online itself. If I go to the create mission on the left here, we can see that there's a guide for how to import freelance jobs from EVE Online into missions with a step-by-step guide. And we can see here the superconductor's production mission that we just looked at. This is the exact description that was given to it within the freelance job in EVE, and it took this, and if we look at the mission again, it converted that into this. So PANDAX knows exactly what you wanted, knows what it relates to, and knows what is going on around it, knows who created it, what they're about, and knows who their who the enemies are, who they're involved with, and who they're against. So if we now have a look at epics, this is the epics section within Pandora. Epics are enormous and can contain multiple stages, and each stage can contain multiple missions, multiple campaigns, and multiple projects. And it shows the stage completion for each stage. If we select one of those epics, for example here, we can see that when you create an epic, it has an overview, what the epic is about, and all of the stages involved in an epic. And you can add more stages as you go. Green tick indicates that the stage has been completed. This little lightning indicates that the stage is currently in progress. So you can select a stage here, see what the stage was about, all the objectives for the stage, and the progress for that stage. Stage 2 here, we can see that it automatically generated who was involved in stage 1. You plugged in multiple missions into this stage, and it shows the progress and the overall progress based upon those missions that were plugged into this epic. And as a creator, you can add additional missions to the stage, which will increase the progress and add it as a mission into the listing. Additional stages can also be added, and you can plug in campaigns, missions and projects into those additional stages, which will create another stage in the main content. Epics themselves are created on the left hand menu here. You simply give your campaign, your epic, a description of what you need it to do, and you add stages to the epic itself and plug them in here. This will start off an epic upon which you can build upon, and others can get involved in progressing your epic story. Now let's go and have a look at the PANDAX action reports. Action reports are generated by PANDAX, the Pandora artificial extension, and these are found within campaigns. You can see here significant protagonists that have taken part in campaigns and their contribution towards the campaign story. Depending on the duration of a campaign, PANDAX will generate reports compiled of what has happened between each report. So you may have a campaign that lasts a week. PANDAX may generate 3 reports, and it will build upon each report based upon how it has progressed since the last time it made a report for that campaign. So you can see that it knows exactly what's going on within the Yorga Faction Warfare Plexing campaign, who the key players are, and who is going against that campaign. As it builds the final report for a campaign, each of the key players in that campaign will also have the final report written to their profiles, and they can be accessed directly here. And the agent or agency that created the campaign will also have the final report written to their profile. Now let's have a look at the monthly rewards. Each month there are varying monthly rewards for those taking part in content within Pandora. And you can see a listing of the top monthly reward winners within Pandora. The current month that we are looking at now is April, and there are 2 monthly rewards going on. First place and second place rewards of 100 plex and 50 plex for those that are running the most insurgency plexes, be it corruption or suppression. the best performing fleet commanders for 100plex and 50plex, and you can also see the previous month rewards. This takes place every single month, and if we go into the news section here, you can see that the news is imported directly from New Eden every 5 minutes, and every month Pandora creates a monthly news digest. So here we have the latest news for March, covering all of the action that took place in the month of March within Pandora, campaigns, missions and other, the key players, the outcomes of those campaigns, the monthly reward winners for that month, currently active campaigns going on, and any other actions such as important missions, epic arc progress and fleets that related to any campaign. Now we go here to the faction warfare maps. The faction warfare maps show the insurgency progress for each of those combating factions, and we can select any of these to go into their faction warfare map. Here we are looking at the Minmatar Amar Angels map. This map updates every 5 minutes, showing you the insurgency progress and a list of all the systems. We can zoom in and move around this map, see the current status of the contested and advantage states, corruption and suppression. You can move your mouse over and see the status of each of these systems, and if there is a campaign in place. You can see here that Augur has that faction warfare plexing campaign. If we click on Augur, it will load the data for Augur, and it knows that there is campaigns taking place in that system. The corruption suppression state, the advantage state, and the current contested state of that system. PANDAX, the Pandora artificial extension, has built a background overview for that system. It knows all about it, all the history, all the records for that system related to EVE Online news, action reports for any campaigns, missions that are going on in the system, the latest faction warfare on faction warfare kills over periods of time, faction warfare plexing, advantage and other, insurgency, corruption and suppression, and any fleet activity that has taken place. Registered fleet commanders will also show here, and they will also be shown on the map. As the map updates over time, fleet commanders move through the map and their battle statistics are displayed. Let's now go ahead and have a look at fleet commanders and fleet operations. Fleet commanders can register themselves as a Pandora track fleet commander via the settings up here, or in the settings here, or in your user profile here. Now, fleets are tracked as they take place and close when they end. Pandora gathers all fleet kills and fleet losses over time and shows the statistics of each fleet. It shows all of the fleet commander statistics historically, this month, last month, all of the fleet members that weren't a fleet commander at the time in any fleet with the registered fleet commander, and a user guide video to tell you exactly how it works. Now, if we go to the fleets, we can select a fleet to view that individual fleet statistics, an overview of the fleet, the kills and losses within that fleet, which link off to Z kill board, leaderboards for the top participants in that fleet with the most kills and final blows, and an action report generated by PANDAX at the end of the fleet. This details the summary overview of the fleet that took place, all kills and losses, and the main players within that fleet. So you can see that each of these does indeed contain their own stats, their own action reports, and as we saw earlier, monthly rewards relate to these statistics. So there we can see that Tank Buster is the current leading fleet commander for the month of April. Now let's have a look at profiles. Here I'm going to go to profile of Det Resprox, who I'm logged in as, and it can see that it has built a profile which can be generated by yourself on your own profile page, which is generated by PANDAX, the Pandora artificial extension, and you can see that it's also tracking all of the action reports related to any campaign that you have been involved in, activity logs, any notable actions, any news articles you've appeared in, your Pandora statistic logs for Plexing, Advantage, Insurgency, Combat, and these can be filtered by time as well. Faction Warfare statistics, which involves your kills, your faction warfare Plexing, Advantage, and more. So here you can see everyone that has been involved in faction warfare Plexing, everyone that has been pushing objectives for Advantage, insurgencies, combat, and these can all be filtered by time. Similarly, you can access your corporation and alliance, and these carry the same exact data. We can see that you can see the Pandora logs for everyone that has been involved in this corporation's statistics, faction warfare stats of this corporation, as well as any standings. Now, standings relate to participation by members for this corporation based upon campaigns. As campaigns are created by agents and agencies, those taking part with those campaigns gain standings based upon their participation. Standings affect your actual rewards in campaigns, so there may be a reward of 1,000,000 ISK per kill on a combat campaign. If you have a maximum of 10% with the creating agency, you will get 1,100,000 because it is 10% of 1,000,000. And you may have a low standing of -10, in which case you get 900,000 because it is -10%, your maximum lowest standing you can get. So this pretty much covers the overview of Pandora. In the future releases, we will see story arcs covering all of the main stories of what's going on within Pandora, events such as frigate leagues, etc., and more. Pandora is ever evolving, and we will see supply chains, traders which will plan their own wares and their shops set up in Pandora, and buying and selling of goods. So keep an eye out. This will be always updated, and a new user guide will be released upon Pandora as it expands. Thank you.